Over the last 2 days, the crypto markets have been pumping and altcoins are actually outpacing Bitcoin, causing many to believe that potentially an altcoin season is starting right now. While I'm not necessarily sure about that, the reason people are saying that altcoins are taking the dominance away from Bitcoin is because of the massive move coming in on Ethereum. And in today's video, we're going to look forward in the rest of the bull market. What does this mean for Ethereum? Just how high could we see the price go for the second largest cryptocurrency? If you're excited about this video, make sure right now to smash that like button. And at the end of the video, if you enjoy it, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our content. All right, let's go. Before we get going into the price prediction for Ethereum, I want to give you a quick word from our sponsor of this video, and that is BloFin, the #1 trading exchange in the world right now, especially if you're here in the United States and you don't want to use a pesky VPN or have to KYC, but you want to trade leverage. BloFin has hundreds of different pairings you can trade right now. You can go trade Ethereum, you can trade Bitcoin, you can trade a lot of different altcoins, but go check out BloFin in the link in the description down below. You will not regret it. Go sign up right now. Now, before I get into the details of what's going on with Ethereum, let's just look at the chart and what the price action looks like Ethereum and why we're so excited over the last 24 hours with Ethereum price action. You can see that earlier today when I recorded this video, Ethereum almost made its way back up towards $2,500. But the bigger detail is that yesterday we eclipsed a very key level of resistance that we have been tracking here with the Broz community for a couple of weeks. And that is the former high from March 26th at $2,100. We told everybody that while we had started a little bit of a bullish push in the last couple of weeks, the key metric for Ethereum to enter bull market territory would be to get back above this level. And for the first time since the highs back in December, Ethereum has set a higher high and a higher low. We even told people a couple of days ago, actually a week or so ago, the best pullback spot would be back down towards $1,750. After wicking here just a couple of days ago, Ethereum has gone berserk. And this is what's starting to get the question going with everyone. How high can Ethereum make it? And in the short term, what we are monitoring is a buy signal on a 2-weekly chart that's telling us in the next couple of months in 2025, we could make our way all the way back up towards $3,300, if not $3,600. But that's just the beginning of what's going to happen with Ethereum. The real question is, where will Ethereum be at the top of the bull market? Now, whenever you're trying to make these predictions, it's very hard to do so. There's 3 questions you have to answer. Number 1, what will the supply be at? This is actually going to be one of the easiest ones, even though it's not an exact answer. Where will the supply be at any given time? You have to know that metric. I'll tell you why here in a couple of minutes. The second question you have to ask is, what will the dominance of Ethereum be at the top of the bull market? And the third question, which is extremely hard, is where will the total crypto market cap be? And therefore, if we know the percentage, where will the market cap of Ethereum be? Why are these the important questions? Well, because at the end of the day, the price action for Ethereum just comes down to market cap divided by supply. If we were to go to coin market cap right now, you can see while I'm making this video, Ethereum's at $2,300. And the reason why is because the current market cap is 278 billion. The current supply is almost 121 million. So when I divide 278 billion divided by 120.73 million, I get the answer $2,303.92. So in this video, we got to tackle these questions and get into where will Ethereum be. Let's start off with the first one is supply. Now, I'm not going to get into all the details of the tokenomics with Ethereum, but Ethereum, you should know, both prints tokens and burns tokens depending on different staking positions and the way people are buying and selling Ethereum. Reasonable expectations would suggest that by the summer of 2026, which is where I believe the top of this bull market could be in that range, we're pretty much going to be seeing the same exact supply right now. Between the tokens being printed and the tokens being burned, I'm expecting the supply of Ethereum to be at 121 million tokens. I could be wrong on that. Again, that's a reasonable expectation, not an exact science. Let me know in the comments if you have a different prediction for where the supply will be. But my number is going to be 121 million. The next question is going to be, no matter where crypto gets to, we'll tackle crypto market cap in just a couple of minutes. The question is, where will the dominance of Ethereum be at the top of the next bull market? And for that, I want to take a look at the Ethereum dominance chart right here. You can see, did not mean to grab that tool. There we go. Let's go out of here. You can see that way back in July of 2017, during the early days of Ethereum price action, it came out with not a lot of competition from other altcoins and had a dominance of 30.9%, or in other words, 31%. Again, back in 2017, there weren't the thousands and thousands and thousands of altcoins. And with Ethereum and Bitcoin pretty much being the major two plays, it's very easy for Ethereum to get a dominance that high. But that's very unrealistic. Ethereum will ever get there again. If you come back over here into December of 2021, the last top of the previous bull market, Ethereum actually made its way all the way up above 20%, coming in around 22% dominance. Well, again, there's way more altcoins, and more specifically, way more legitimate layer one coins in this bull market. To think that Ethereum's going to get back up into that 22% range of dominance is kind of unrealistic. But we do see a little bit of a trend forming here, and my expectation is that Ethereum, by the end of this bull market, in the summer of 2026, will more than likely be somewhere between 13 and 17% dominance, in line with this trajectory. You can see right now, after a big spike in the last 2 days, Ethereum's coming in at 8.7% dominant. Expect the rest of the bull market for this chart to continue to climb, but it won't reach previous levels as there are way more legitimate options. The emergence of Solana, the emergence of Sui, Cardano, several other layer one coins are not going to allow Ethereum to get back to 20%, but 13 to 17 is still a very good number to look at. And that gives us a lot of answers about the first two questions. We get the two answers. Where is the supply going to be? 121 million. What is the dominance of Ethereum going to look like? That's going to be somewhere in the world of 13 to 17%. But where will crypto be as a whole? You might have been asking the question throughout this video, why does Tim keep talking about the summer of 2026? I want to be honest with you, there's nothing magical about the summer of 2026 other than it's not the 4-year cycle, and it's still a long term for the bull market to go to the upside before having some form of a correction. I do believe the 4-year cycle is over, and I do believe we can have extended bull markets, but I would not be surprised if after 6 to 7 months after the top of a 4-year cycle prediction, I wouldn't be surprised to see some form of a pullback. But the question that I'm going to be tackling here next is, where will the total market cap be? And there's 3 reasonable expectations for where I think crypto could get to as a whole. And then when we know that number, where will Ethereum get to? Let's go to my screen here with my beautiful Excel sheet that everybody loves. Wear some sunglasses right now. It is a very white screen, but we're going to get into the details of what could happen. In an extremely disappointing bull market, one where the institutions don't really get heavily involved, and it's really mostly just retail driven, crypto could still make its way up here towards $5 trillion. And if this was the case, somewhere between 13 to 17% dominance for our Ethereum token, we would see the market cap for Ethereum with a $5 trillion market cap be somewhere between 650 billion to 850 billion. Now, like I said, this is a very disappointing bull market. It's one where the institutions do not play ball, and this is almost all retail investors. The likelihood of a disappointing bull market is pretty slim, in my personal opinion, especially if we're in the summer of 2026. But this is something you do need to know. On the low end, we could see Ethereum top out somewhere in this world of 650 to 850 billion dollars. What about what I would consider the more realistic prediction? $11 trillion. I think this is probably the most realistic expectation for early adoption from institutions along with retail investors. I think all of crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Sui, Solana, Cardano, all of them together could be at $11 trillion. And if this does hit, the expectation between 13 to 17% dominance for Ethereum would come in here with a market cap of 1.4 trillion to 1.9 trillion. This is a very big deal. This is the realistic expectation, I think, for Ethereum's market cap, and would bring a massive increase to price to Ethereum. Now, some of you might be saying, Tim, 1.4 to 1.9 trillion. That's ridiculous. Remember, we're sitting here doing very basic mathematics about how high crypto could get and just how serious the number 2 crypto can be in this bull market. Do not be surprised if in the summer of 2026, the market cap is sitting somewhere between those two numbers. But before I end this and give you the price predictions I'm going to think are going to happen, I got to make sure I lay out a potential moon boy scenario. What happens if crazy things happen? What happens if institutions go all in on crypto when we match the market cap of gold next year, hitting $22 trillion, and Ethereum has that 13 to 17% dominance? Well, this all of a sudden would bring the market cap for Ethereum up from only 1.9 trillion to 2.8 trillion on the low end, 3.7 trillion on the high end. Now, I'm not going to put a lot of belief and faith into this prediction, but I just want to make sure it's very clear to you. If the institutions, and this is the institutional bull market, if they go nuts and they go all in on crypto, and Ethereum is one of their favorites, which there's a lot of evidence to say Ethereum will be a fan favorite for institutions, technically these numbers are possible. Likely, maybe not, but possible, absolutely. Well, now that we have our ranges here, I think the realistic ones to keep an eye on are probably between 1.4 to 1.9 trillion. Let's get an understanding of what that means for price action. We know the market cap, we know the supply, but what does this mean about these market caps giving us a price on Ethereum? Let's get rid of the two, what I think, unrealistic predictions. On the low end, if we only had a $650 billion valuation, this would bring a price prediction for Ethereum's top at $5,400. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of bears in chat who say, Tim, great prediction. That's it. We're going with that one. If you want to take profit at 5,400, be my guest. But I think this is a very unrealistic and low expectation for Ethereum holders. I'm going to say that's not my prediction whatsoever. But what about the other end of the spectrum? What if we got all the way to $3.7 trillion in market cap? That would give us a prediction of $30,600. So if you hear anybody out there predicting $30,000 for Ethereum, they're probably someone who subscribes to a $22 trillion market cap and Ethereum being somewhere in the world of 17% of that dominance. I think that is a little too early, a little too soon, maybe 2035. I think it'd be very reasonable before 2035 for Ethereum to be up at $30,000. But for 2026, for this bull market, that's a little too rich for me. I'm not expecting that to happen. The realistic ones that I'm watching are here in the middle. I told you already, I think the market cap is going to be 1.4 to 1.9 trillion, somewhere in the middle there. And that gives us a price range of exactly 11.6 thousand to 15.7 thousand. Genuinely, I believe Ethereum could be anywhere in between these two numbers. And for the sake of just playing the middle, I'm going to go almost right down the middle and say, let's expect roughly $13,000 is where Ethereum is going to be, somewhere in the world of $1.6, $1.7 trillion in a market cap. That is my prediction for Ethereum. Now, before I let you go, let me know in the comments, what do you think about the price prediction for Ethereum? What do you think about this video? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? I want to be very clear, though, because there are some questions asked about my previous price prediction of SUI, of just because I'm predicting a realistic expectation of $50 for SUI, should you hold that long? And that's not necessarily the case. Even in this case, should you hold Ethereum all the way to $13,000? That's going to depend on your risk management. It's also going to depend on how the markets move from here. I could be wrong on a couple of different things here. I could be wrong on the timing of the bull market. I could be wrong about where the supply is going to be. I could be wrong about the dominance, and I could be wrong about the crypto market cap. I'm giving a lot of if-then statements for you to understand what is possible out there and what is realistic. But along the way, if we get to a point where the economy is screaming at us that crypto needs to correct and we haven't hit $13,000, I'm not going to just be like a stubborn bull and hold on anyway. I will respond to all updating information. If Ethereum starts to disappoint me along the way and it doesn't seem to be one of the front runners of the crypto market, I will also adjust this price prediction. For that reason, while I think you guys will enjoy this video and have a realistic expectation of Ethereum, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and stick around to hear my updated takes, because who knows, 6 months from now, I could have a different opinion, and you need to constantly be updating your opinions and thoughts about the markets all along the way. That is proper risk management. That's proper investment advice. With that said, though, that's all I have for you in this video. I'll see you in the next one. Adios. Well, look at there. You made it to the end of the video, which means you probably did enjoy it. So right now, go and smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of our content. But if you want to go deeper, if you want to learn more about what I think and the rest of our team thinks on the markets, the daily news, and what's going on in the charts, make sure to check out our VIP trading group, where every single day we are discussing everything going on. We're going live several times a day to answer all of your questions and set up several trades to make money no matter what the markets look like. Go sign up right now with that link down below. I'll see you over there.